Hey there, traders. David here of TradingFibs and MarketFi.com to bring you a recap for May 12th, 2015. As always, please seek financial advisement when trading with your money, as the videos are for educational purposes only to support your knowledge in the market, see what's going through my head on any given day. Always make sure you have a solid trading plan. Always manage your stop when placing a trade. Let's jump right into the big macro pick, as on all four major indices, as the ES does its proverbial chop up and down. Price momentum index upside, just meeting the 60-period moving average on all four major indices, daytime trading only. That's right, TF closing the gap. YM with a big hole to fill. That's right, all the way downside and back upside to close even today's gap. What a move on the YM, both to the downside and back upside. We'll show you that move here in a minute. NQ filling that gap, and ES doing its best to follow the YM and closing that major haul. What do we say? All major gaps eventually get closed. That's our looking at our daily picture. Let's jump over to the daily macro picture as we look at the 5-minute chart, 25-minute open, 1-hour open range depicted in the reds here. Price action eventually broke out to the upside, but unable, that's right, unable to break above the overnight high. Here you can see on the Russell just below the pivot, coming all the way down to the average move down, both on the TF and YM, and never being able to break upside, closing really near the daily gaps. Not making much price action other than a recovery today, and not much movement. Let's jump right into the four major indices as we saw it today. Their first move at post 1-hour market action after a chop down and closing back to the upside all at the same time. 1-hour open range set. That's right, we had the setup on the 534 and the T3 moving average crossover, all green across the board. This price action move with a nice tick count above 500 all the way to the daily gaps. HA bars to keep you in trend, and once nearing the daily gap, NQ and ES finally closing their gap later on in the session. And finally, the afternoon push saw another wonderful move upside. A little bit of chop in the middle of the session, but nothing to run home and tell about. And there it was, all four major indices popping up 5 above 34 as the price action HA bars kept you in the trend. So that was our look at the four major indices. If you're not trading the four major indices, perhaps it was the crude today, as you saw the crude cross the 13,144 bull bear line, bullish bias as price action here West Coast time between 8 and 8:10, set up to the long on a 10-tick range chart, solid body tail up Heikin-Ashi bars, and all in the green, 5 above 34 to keep you in the trend. Here we see live cattle and the cotton. Perhaps it's not the indices that you trade. Maybe it's not the crude. It could be any other commodity. Here we see two opportunities, both on the cotton and the live cattle. Here in the red, price action breaking down to the downside as the T3 moving average crossover, solid body tail down, and the 534 depicted by the red cloud here, and then breaking back upside with numerous opportunities for pullbacks and reentry. Same picture as we can see on the cotton on the right, both downside and to the upside. Here we see, that's right, we see the 534 here in the red and the T3 moving average crossover as solid bars, tails down, keeping you in the trends. And for those traders who are not trading the commodities, perhaps the equities, looking here on a long-term range chart, same strategy applies on an intraday range chart. We've been looking here at Facebook, as we could see in current action on a 100-tick range chart for the swing size trader, swinging to the downside at this point with T3 crossover to the downside, 5 below 34, keeping you in the trend. Perhaps we are fishing for a bottom here, as we see back here in March 11, being unable to break that. So re-entry to the upside. I would wait for the solid body Heikin-Ashi bar and a T3 crossover upside, and then the 534 to put you in the trend back in the long trade. Taking a look at today's IBD 50 as we watch every day in its market wrap that you can find here on the TV tab at their website. Taking a look at the 3 IPOs that they've been talking about: VIRT, CMCM here, and SEDG. Looking always to add to your watch list. Again, taking the fundamentals of the IBD and applying it to a whether an intraday or swing size trade. Same strategy applies here. We could see the 534 crossover and the T3 moving average cross with a solid body tail up. Heiken Ashi bars, slight sell-off in the session, and then both an opportunity again on crossover. Here we see a much nicer setup here in the CMCM on a 1-year 25 tick range chart. As we can see, price action broke upside on the T3 crossover just slightly before that, and then price action breaking to the upside. Solid Heiken Ashi bars and tails up, keeping you in the trend. Again, for the swing trader, keeping your range chart at a higher tick range than a lower intraday 5 tick, 10 tick is what we usually use, is to keep you in for the long term. Here we see SEDJ with great fundamentals as seen there on the IBD TV. Crossover here, 534, solid body tail up with the 534 crossover in the background in the green to keep you in the trade. That concludes today's wrap. Feel free to stop by at Trading Fibs or MarketFi, any of my social media outlets, to obtain more information. My mantra is to know one thing: know it well, rings true for all markets. Whether you trade the futures, the ETFs, equities, my plan will keep you disciplined. You can find me every day on Twitter at Trading Fibs, and as always, I leave the crystal ball to the experts. I only trade what's in front of me, and on my charts, one strategy, one chart, any chart, any market, any time frame. Have yourself a blue zone day.